I know we're a little late, but we expect one more coming, so we're going to go ahead and get started on some of this stuff, and as soon as Don gets here, we'll switch around the agenda, get the action items done, because I know Garrett's got to hit the road. So I'll call the meeting to order, and if you would like to call the 7 of us in roll call, that would be great.
Shall we do the pledge?
Well, it says roll call. I can read.
Eric Guerra. Here. Patrick Kennedy. Karina Talamantes.
Here.
Jeff Slowey.
Here.
Larry Carr.
Here.
Stephanie Wynn. Darren Soon. Don Natoli. Saul Hernandez.
Here.
Sue Frost.
Here.
Angelique Ashby. Alan Warren. Garrett Gatewood.
Here.
And if you would read the meeting statement, Linda.
The meeting of the Sacramento Public Library Authority is being videotaped in its entirety and will be cablecast without interruption on Metro Cable 14, the Government Affairs Channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems, and will be webcast at sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting is being shown live and will be repeated at 4 p.m. on Saturday, December 8th, and 9 a.m. on Thursday, December 13th on Channel 14. This meeting is closed captioned. A DVD copy will be available for checkout from any library branch no later than 2 weeks following today's meeting. A public copy of the full agenda, including reports, is available for viewing at the back table and is available on the library website at saclibrary.org. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should complete a speaker identification form located at the back table and give it to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone when addressing the board and state your name for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes so that everyone may be heard. In consideration of others, please silence your cell phone at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. And if you would join me in the pledge, Mr. Warren, would you, or Mr. Carr, would you lead us? Sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so public comment. Mr. Derringer, I assume you're going to be talking on the presentation for the foundation, or you have... Okay, no problem. So outside of that, and I'll call Jim up during presentations, we have nobody signed up to speak. So we'll move on to presentations. Anybody here from the Friends? I'll call you up. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Anita Scurry. I'm president of the Friends. I just wanted to say, when I saw Director Sass's report on the elections, that our goal was to help the library function as a library while allowing everybody to perform their civic duty of voting. And it sounds like we were wildly successful. I know I volunteered at Arden Dimick from 5 to 7 or 5 to 8 p.m. And it was crazy, and everybody was most appreciative of the library making their facilities available and of the Friends picking up their ballots and putting them in the ballot box. So I think it was a really great example of the partnership that we have with the library. Oh, and we also have one other thing. As you know, we do Book First, which is giving books to first graders, especially starting in the low-income schools. And we had we labeled and packaged 14,000 books, and we started distribution. We made one on November 30th at Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School, and it was a big hit. The children were thrilled to get their books, so we expect many more to come. And if you decide you would ever like to participate in one of those, they take about an hour, and we would love to have you. Director Sass has my contact information, so if you're interested, we would love to have you come on a visit.
Great.
Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. So, Mr. Derringer, if you could hold off just a minute. What we're going to do at this point, since we suddenly got a quorum, and I know one or two have to leave, if it's okay with the board, I'm going to move up number 7, action items, so we can take those votes, and then if people have to leave, we won't have to worry about action. So, Linda, if you want to read, and we'll do 7.1.
Action 7.1, Sacramento Public Library Authority Annual Report annual audit report, excuse me, fiscal year 17-18, and contract amendment, Sloan Sakai Young and Wong LLP.
Thank you. So, Johnny?
Good afternoon. My name is Johnny E., Finance Manager. So, annual audit report. Here we go. So before you are the audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2018. I'm happy to report that we had another successful year in close. The audit went fairly smooth, and the end result was an unqualified audit opinion issued by our auditors. And unqualified is a good thing in this case. It indicates that we are in full compliance with generally accepted accounting principles and the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. Our internal controls are solid, and there were no audit findings. The scope of the audit was consistent with the engagement letter. There were no disagreements with management, and no major issues discussed. The only thing new was GASB 75, which we fully implemented in for fiscal year 2018. Just as a reminder, the financial statements are presented on the two bases of accounting, the modified accrual basis, which focuses on the governmental funds and current available resources. And secondly, the full accrual basis, which are the government-wide financial statements. This focuses on all available resources, which includes capital assets, long-term liabilities, such as pension, OPEB, and compensated absences. It's also similar to private sector accounting. So if you'll turn to page 124, we'll take a look at the financial statements. So starting on page 124 of your board packet, you'll see that there are four major funds: the General Fund, County of Sacramento Fund, City of Sacramento Fund, and the City of Sacramento Household Tax Fund. Under the General Fund, this consists of the Library Shared Cost Fund, the book funds, donations, technologies, and grants. So we ended the year at about $5.7 million for the General Fund. The County of Sacramento Fund ended the year at $26.9 million. City of Sacramento Fund at $2.4 million, and City of Sacramento Household Tax Fund at $5.6 million. We also have one non-major fund, which is called the Permanent Fund. These are two trusts that we have for the library. So that ended the year at $390,000 in fund balance. So for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2018, we ended the year at approximately $41.1 million in fund balance for the governmental funds. Also, as you know, we are also in compliance with GASB 68 and 71. This is financial reporting for pensions. So if you take a look at page 125 of your packet, the very right-hand column where it says statement of net position. So we've recorded $17.2 million in net pension liability and related deferred inflows and outflows of $6.4 million and approximately $820,000 in deferred inflows. So the net increase to the pension liabilities it went from $14.4 million last year to $17.2 million for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2018. And this increase is mainly a result of CalPERS lowering the discount rate from 7.65% to 7.15%. So again, this is recorded only in the government-wide statement, which is on your very right-hand column. And effective fiscal year 18, all public agencies had to comply with GASB 75. So this is accounting for accounting and financial reporting for other post-employment benefits, also known as OPEB. So again, on page 125 of the financial statement, we've recorded $8 million in net OPEB obligations and deferred outflows of $159,000. So taking a look at, so I know it's hard to follow what's modified and what's full accrual. So we put together a schedule here that shows a side-by-side comparison of the modified accrual basis of accounting and what the fund balances are. So if you take a look at the left-hand column on the modified accrual, the general fund, which again consists of shared costs, book fund, donations, technology, and so on, ended the year at $5.7 million. And the county, approximately $27 million, City of Sacramento, $2.4 million, City of Sacramento household taxes. These are Measure X and Measure B combined, which is $5.6 million, and the permanent fund at $390,000. So approximately $41.1 million in fund balance. Now on the right-hand side, the full accrual, this includes capital assets, long-term liabilities, again, such as pension, OPEB, and accrued compensated absences where employees have earned the PTO balances, but it has not been used yet. So looking at the balances, the net investment in capital assets, as you know, you cannot spend capital assets because these are tangible assets, is approximately $12 million. Restricted for county branches, it's at about $15.4 million. Restricted for City of Sacramento branch is $163,000. Restricted agency-wide, it's approximately $3 million. And this is mainly for books and donation purchases. And so City of Sacramento, if you look at the green shaded color number, it's at a negative $1.2 million. And again, after we factored in the long-term liabilities, so when it's all said and done, the City of Sacramento is at a deficit of $1.2 million. Unrestricted agency-wide, it ended the year at a little bit over $3 million, so the total net position is $32.3 million. And for the County of Sacramento Fund, we've been discussing about fund balance reserves and the supplemental fund funding concept over the last couple board meetings. So I just want to remind the board that we ended the fiscal year at a fund balance of $385,276 for the supplemental fund, which is reserved within the County of Sacramento fund. And the breakdown is as follows: $221,000 for the Sacramento County branches. For the Elk Grove libraries, $91,000. City of Galt library branch, $16,000. Isle 10, approximately $2,000, and Rancho Cordova at about $55,000. Citrus Heights was fully spent during the Great Recession. So as we continue the discussion on fund balance reserve policies and supplemental funding discussions, we will address these balances and figure out the best needs on how to spend these monies. Also on attachment A, this is the required communication letter from the auditors. The financial statements are clean. There were a few reclassification for reporting purposes only. So again, books are clean, financial statements are in great shape. And on the attachment B, the management letter, there were no reportable issues identified during the audit. So that's for you to review as well. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for the board from Johnny? Sue?
Is this, on the supplemental fund, is this just for 2018? This is just the 2018 calculation? Because it seemed like in the last meeting, the number was larger. I don't have that other packet with me. Is this just 2018 then? What was left over after?
No, so these numbers have been in place since 2009, and the City of Citrus Heights was the only branch that fully spent their share of the portion. So these monies have carried on over the last approximately 8 to 9 years. The way we budget and the way the supplemental funding calculation works is if there's a surplus when we budget, then it gets allocated. So in light of the Great Recession, and then just rebounding with the recession, we've been budgeting where we're dipping into fund balance and not having a surplus. So this is not the 2018 calculation, it's a carry forward number.
In the last meeting, there was a breakdown of the excess funds, and it was something like $3 million for the county.
I can respond to that. What we were showing you at the last meeting was a model that if we change the part of where our hands are a little bit tied is the definition of supplemental funding and the way we were calculating what supplemental funding actually was, and it was done by the budgeted amount, correct? And not by if there was money left over. So that's the whole point of the discussion we had in October, was if we can move forward. So we do have a meeting scheduled with the finance folks from the various jurisdictions to recommend that we change how we calculate that. So then we were modeling it to show you that I believe the county would have about 2.32, I believe, and then different amounts for the other jurisdictions. So that's the whole point of, do we make this change or not? And does the board?
So we're still looking at, we're going to let them, they're meeting on the 20th, the Finance Advisory Committee is meeting on the 20th, and they're going to review the supplemental funding.
Right, and we'll come back to the board at a later date, but we still have to follow what was set out for us, and the amount that Johnny's talking about, that 300 and some thousand, is based on the formula that was established when the JPA was established, and per the recommendations of the Finance Advisory Committee in 2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we're going to be looking at, we're still reviewing this for the purposes of the reserves and how we're going to move forward.
Exactly.
Is basically what we're looking at.
And so at some point the board will have to decide, if you do it this way, then that changes the amounts.
Yeah, we'll look at how is it going to impact the overall authority.
Right,
and
exactly. So we expect to have that conversation depending on what the folks from the finance departments of the various jurisdictions recommend.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any additional questions? This is an action item. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move the item with our thanks to Johnny and all the staff for good tracking throughout the course of the year, and the audit confirms it.
Echo that. Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Next item, please. Thank you, Johnny. 7.2.
7.2, contract amendment, Sloan Sakai Young and Wong, LLP, Human Resources.
So as the board knows, we've been trying a new model for the management of our Human Resources Department, and we are on the, I don't want to say the downward slide, but we are just about in place with our new plan for human resources. Christopher True was appointed in October, and we would like to retain the services of Georgia Cochran, the HR consultant, for another few months, just to make sure that we remain in compliance with all of our HR functions. So we're asking for your approval of the item.
Questions for Rivka? Pleasure of the board.
Move the item.
Thank you.
Second.
I thought I was going to have to do it. I'm like, did I not say something? Okay. So we have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Now, before you take off, I actually, because there's one more action item, I probably should have started at 6 and gone to 7. 6 is consent, so, and I'll just read them. Action summary, 6.1, 6.2 is proposed next year's authority board meeting schedule, 6.3 purchase cooperative agreement computer replacement, and 6.4 pricing agreement enterprise fleet management. Anybody wish any of those items pulled? What is the pleasure of the board for the consent?
Second.
We have a motion and several seconds. All those in favor, vote aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. There's no other action items, so if any of you have to go, feel free. And we're going to jump back up to presentations. Jim Derringer, I apologize for putting you off, but we had a problem with quorum, so need to get the business done. So
it's been fascinating, and I'm glad I was here for it.
So, presentation by the Library Foundation. Welcome, sir.
My name, for those who don't know me, is Jim Derringer. I'm the current president of the board of the Sacramento Public Library Foundation. I just have a couple of quick reporting items I wanted to advise you of. In late October, we had our annual Walk for Literacy. The number of walkers was down this year because we had fewer volunteers to scout them up and organize them, but our sponsorships were way up. They were like double what they were the year before, and this is a very encouraging development. We also have pretty robust, enthusiastic involvement by Sac State now in the event. In fact, next year they want to be a serious sponsor and we're going to have the terminus of the event be at Sac State. So we're pleased with these developments because it's another sign that our sponsoring organizations who care about literacy in this community are recognizing this as kind of a signal event that it's a way of demonstrating their support. So we were pleased with how that turned out. Our major fundraiser for the year is the Authors on the Move event, which is the beginning of March 2nd. We fill the large ballroom there at the Hyatt with 45 tables now in recent years, and we plan on that happening again. The sign-ups, the table sponsorships are going very well for this time of year. I think we have 33 of our authors lined up already out of the 45, and so that is going very well. Our keynote speaker this year is going to be David Lawrence. He was the editor of the Miami Herald for some period of time, and he retired about 20 years ago and started a children's movement of Florida. It's a nonprofit that is focused exclusively on early learning for children in its various aspects. So he's somebody for whom what we do and what the library does is very important. He's a dynamic speaker, a dynamic person, and we think he's going to add a lot to that event. I should mention on the Walk for Literacy, going back a moment, I did see Vice Mayor Swen there and Councilman Guerra, so thank you very much for showing the colors and being there. I hope you had a little fun that day. I don't know. So that, I think, is about it. We're having our Children's Literacy Endowment continues to proceed apace, and we had another good month last month. Another $125,000 came in November. So we are moving steadily toward our goal of $1,250,000, $1,250,000 we want to have before we go public with the campaign. And we're actually not very far away from that now. So we continue to be encouraged by the donor response to that event. I'm happy to entertain any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions? It's great news, though, to hear that Sac State wants to be a sponsor. I mean, that's there's a lot of folks there going to school, and good.
Yeah, and Robert Nelson is really, being the champ on this, and he's behind it. And I think there's an appreciation that even when you're at the college level, that early reading is important and is taking the long view, which we really appreciate.
Good. Well, thank you, Mr. Danger. I appreciate it. Again, I apologize that we put you off a wee bit, but...
Not a problem at all. I'm
right.
retired. Thank you.
Sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
I think we switched our microphones here, but I did want to say that we attended the Walk for Literacy. It was a great event at Oak Park, but we almost lost our a major sponsor there with Sac State that day in a split second, and that's because after the speeches, Darren and I almost knocked off President Nelson off the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how that happened? Yeah, the royal.
But it was great to see that they came out anyways.
I heard he just almost fell off the stage, and I didn't. Now I know why. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Oh,
Excuse me, Chair Slay. Sorry. Just one more quick thing. I would like to, Jim, and I'd like to. I'm sorry. Yeah. On all seriousness, though, I think. We know the incoming governor puts a higher priority on early education, and as the incoming chair next year, and I believe ex officio on your board, I'd love to talk to you more about how we can support that effort next year.
Right. We're looking forward to that. Looking forward to your presence on the board, too.
Thank you so much. Me too.
Great. Thank you. All right, that concludes the presentations. Number 4.0, Director's Report from our SIC Director.
Acting Chair. I will draw your attention to 2 items regarding facilities refresh. The Sylvan Oaks Library and the Galt Libraries will be closed for a period of time. Sylvan Oaks for a significant amount of time. So I will stop by City Council next week and just update everybody at Citrus Heights on that. We think it's pretty great for the Sylvan Oaks Library, which hasn't been touched in some years, as well as for Galt. Speaking of early literacy, since that is a priority of the library, we're the program people after all, we just received a grant in conjunction with the City of Sacramento from the National League of Cities to support early learning efforts. So it's a great opportunity for us to get support from the League and to push our agenda, which is the 0 to 5 agenda. And we're really excited, so we'll keep you posted because we see this as a great partnership with the City of Sacramento. And I noticed that one of the other awardees is a cohort of 6 cities in Nebraska, and one of the questions I had is there a way to bring in all of our partner cities? So we'll check on that for you. Otherwise, I will wait until item 5.5 because I do want to mention the election.
Okay.
Thank you.
Rivka, just want to bring you up to speed on the lighting project for Shasta, North Laguna Library. We're having some tremendous contracting snafus. And the thing kind of sat on someone's desk for a couple months, and then people left, and then the vendor wasn't producing anymore.
Oh dear.
So they tell me it's going to be another couple months before we can get the lighting up. But I'm looking forward to it, and we're pushing it as fast as we can. In retrospect, it would have been better just to transfer the money to you and let you contract for it directly, because we're having a hard time with this one. But it's going to be beautiful.
We can do that next time.
When it's finished, it's going to be beautiful.
It is. I agree.
How was your international trip helping out in?
It was amazing. I had this plan of everything I wanted to do, a field trip for the workshops for the librarians, and there's a group called the Tiger Girls that is an after-school group that promotes reading. So I wanted to do workshops, did that, including in a sandstorm, so it was awesome. We all ended up covered in dust and then had to move inside. The librarians had asked for a field trip when I was there in February. We were able to visit the Shoman Foundation, which is sort of a public-private partnership public library in Amman. It was amazing. Sometime I'd love to show you some pictures of the refugee librarians because they were really just blown away by what they saw. It was incredible. And I started a book club. I took 120 copies of 4 different titles. We divided it up. We have 10 book clubs among the 10 libraries. And then finally, libraries were not mapped as a community asset at the camp. There are schools and there are hospitals and there are clinics, but libraries were not mapped. That was the last thing we did on my last day at camp. So it was really very satisfying, and I think we did good work. And libraries are moving ahead. And all the issues they describe are the same as the issues that we describe. Not enough money. What are the kids doing on their screens? I was in Jordan. The Zaatari refugee camp is on the border of Syria and Jordan. So every day we get up, catch a van from Amman, Jordan, drive for about an hour, and then work for several hours, and then drive back. It's kind of an adventure. And everybody smokes. That's something else I do.
Well, I'd love to see some photos. So for the next meeting, if you can bring some, that'd be fantastic. And thank you for going out there and sharing your knowledge of libraries and working together as a community.
It's pretty awesome. And I've done early literacy training, so they all know about 90% of a child's brain developing by age of 5. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Well, you must have enjoyed it because you went, that was your second trip.
Third.
Third, okay.
In 1
Sorry,
year.
I missed one.
Yeah.
Missed one.
And I have to pay my own way, so I go with a woman who's got all this grant money, so it's fine. It's a thrill.
Okay. Well, good. Thanks
It's
for
worth
that
it.
update.
Thank you.
All right, next item is information, 5.1 monthly financial report for September. Any questions or concerns? Quarterly investment performance report, Q1, 5.2. How about the monthly financial report for October, as well as 5.4 monthly treasurer's report? Issues, questions, concerns? Rivka, I know you said you had some comments on 5.5, so general election update.
I just really want to say that I gave a talk yesterday in San Diego about the Voters' Choice Act and libraries' role, because we were all in with this, and Sacramento being the largest county to go 100% vote by mail, it really went very well. And honestly, it was the Friends of the Library who made all the difference. There are pictures after pictures after pictures all day long where they had set up drive-throughs at the Elk Grove Library, which has the worst parking lot in the universe. They had a drive-through. At the Art and Dimick Library, which has inadequate parking, they had drive-through. And I was at the Franklin Community Library, which is a voter service center. We got the last people out. If you were in line at 8 o'clock, excuse me, the door gets closed, and then everybody gets to vote until the last person votes. So we were there until about 9:30, and somebody called and we had pizza delivered. It was a free service through Pizza to the Polls, and people actually sort of smiled about it. They were very patient. We took things around while they were waiting, and it really was, to me, it was democracy at its best, because we want people to be informed voters and to vote, and they did. So thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Friends of the Library. That was awesome.
Yeah, I know you had the drop-off, well, you didn't, but they had the boxes at the various libraries, and I know at least the one in Citrus Heights, we actually had to, on Election Day, have the police out there directing traffic, because people don't necessarily know how to drive when it gets a little crowded. So. Right.
Well, and just for comparison's sake, 187,000 ballots were dropped off at the 52 locations around the county. Libraries took in 102,000 of that 187,000, and on Election Day we took in 50,000 ballots. So we were busy and we were tired. It was worth having everybody open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Next year, Ileton and Cortland, because it was too confusing not to have them open, or next time. And it's really a very proud moment to know how engaged people are with voting.
Yeah, we actually, because we had it at our city hall, we had to move one of our boxes out to the parking lot because we have a lot of elderly folks, and they pull up to the circle and they'd wait for somebody, and by law you can't really take somebody's ballot and walk it over and put it in the box. They have to, so we actually had to take the ballot box out to the curb because we didn't want to be accused of violating any election laws. So.
Those pink bags are great
Yes,
for that
very
very
lightweight
purpose.
and just
Yeah.
So.
No, it was a
yeah,
great
apparently not in North Carolina either, but
Yeah.
that's another story.
No, I'm very proud of Sacramento
And eventually I think the state's going that whole way. So
it will. Absolutely. Thank you.
5.6 JPA proposed reserve policy update. I think you had kind of given it earlier, right? That there's a meeting coming up, and then the board will take it up.
We'll keep it going. We'll keep this conversation going until everybody's happy.
Yep.
Can we also have the Finance Advisory Committee review that item as well? The 5.6?
Sure, we'll send it out to them.
They're meeting on the 20th, so.
Yes, we're meeting with them. So, yeah, we will send them all the background materials.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Don, for making a quorum. All right, so 8.0, last item on the agenda. Reports, ideas, questions from board members. Oh, hi, Stephanie.
Oh, Stephanie.
Wait till I get there before you go.
Anybody have anything they want to bring up?
Happy holidays.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We can say it together. Yeah. Happy holidays.
Great. All right, you just sit down yet, Stephanie, so we can adjourn the meeting? So, all right. We'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you.